So, Breea Clark, you're running for Ward 6.
I am.
And we're going to have just a conversation about a few questions that have been given to us from former city council members about basic broad-based thoughts on governance. So,
Okay.
first question is asking you about your approach to governance. Some elected officials view themselves as a part of the team. Once elected, and consider their constituents to be represented simply by that official's participation in the governmental process. Other officials' approach to representation is to see themselves as not a part of the team, but instead a member of the citizenry that represents the wishes of the citizenry to the permanent staff. Others still view their role as an elevated member of staff and a conduit by which the city communicates to the public. So which of those do you see that better fits into how you view what you would be doing when you're elected?
Well, one of my main priorities is to not only get feedback during the campaign process, but to continue to get it while I'm elected. For example, I'm very excited about monthly, I wouldn't call it meet and greets at that point because I will have gotten elected, but feedback with Breea and also bring someone from the community leadership to these meetings. So like the mayor, Parks and Recreation, the chief of the police department, things like this. So to continue to get the feedback from my community. So I see myself as a part of the team, as any leader has to be, but I would see it as my responsibility to represent the interests of Ward 6. So even if I strongly felt that this was what needed to happen, if the majority of Ward 6 tells me that we feel differently, I'm prepared to go with the majority of Ward 6 because that's what representative officials do. So that's how I see my position as an elected official for city council.
Okay. The second question goes to your relationship with staff. The city charter explicitly denotes the roles for council members. And how do you view your role as a council member with regards to the city manager's staff?
I think that this is their full-time job, so they're going to have a lot of information for us, but I'm also aware that they can give us the information in the light that they want us to consider it in, and so I would be prepared to do my own research and ask my own questions outside of that. I don't think we answer to city council staff. We are the elected officials, but then they're also paid employees, so that's where I think the team approach would come in, but we have to keep our independence as city council because we represent our ward and our citizens, not just the best interest of the city in terms of finances or things like that. So while there has to, again, be that team approach to get things done, I'm prepared to ask specific questions that I think will be relevant to Ward 6, as well as do my own research so I'm getting all of the information, not just what is given to me, and I think that's going to be very important.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times people don't understand that, the council members have one employee, and that's the city manager. And so you can't order other staff around. We ask them for things, but we don't order them around. But we have to have a relationship with them. They're going to be here long after councils come and go.
Exactly.
But the council has to be the ones that brings the public perspective to them. Can you think of something that would kind of illustrate how that might affect a policy or a program?
The first thing that jumps to mind is the senior center. I mean, there was a lot of public input on that, and for some reason it wasn't implemented by city council, and I'm sure the city staff had a role in that as well. And so that would have, I think, been a better time to listen to the feedback that we were getting from our community to make sure the Norman Ford Initiative never would have left city council until everything was spoken for. So I think that's a good example of when you got to listen to who's voting for you and who you're representing.
And the charter also talks about the relationship and role of the mayor to the rest of council. It's a city manager council form of government, so we do not have a strong mayor. But how do you view the council's role in interacting with the mayor?
I believe the mayor now has done a very good job of building relationships with each council person, be it coffees and lunches, just so, I mean, you do have to work together, and there are going to be differences of opinions. I think that she leads meetings very well, so that's not the most exciting part of her job. But I appreciate the leadership that she's pushed forward on issues that are important to her, and I believe that she does listen to people. I think the rule of three is very interesting, so it kind of takes away even more of the strong mayor thing and allows our city council to get their issues heard as well through that initiative.
Your next question is, if you are the elected voice of your constituents in Norman's inclusive community, how would you approach a controversial issue? Would you vote with your personal beliefs, or would you vote the preferences of your constituents?
I mentioned that earlier a little bit. I like to think that I'm running to represent Ward 6 because I have similar beliefs to people who live in Ward 6. I don't really see me having an opinion that would be vastly different where I'd have to make a call like this. But again, I wasn't elected to be queen of Ward 6. I was elected to be the representative of Ward 6. So I would definitely see it as my responsibility to do what the residents of Ward 6 wanted, not what I felt was best.
If there was an issue, one of the things that people elect people to do is to sit in that chair, and you're going to be going through the agenda book, which when it was printed out is about this thick every 2 weeks, and you're going to be sitting through all those meetings. So you're going to have a lot more information than the average person has the time or inclination to go through. So if you felt like there was something that the public may not be right on, that was best for them even. Now that sounds kind of pretentious, but you might just have some more information. What do you see your role is at that point? Any different?
It is. I think strong leaders are active leaders, and I consider myself to be one that's going to get out in the community and not only get feedback, but educate people on these issues. I've already seen, again, with the senior center issues, some people just throwing things out there, and it's like, did you read that? Because it's not correct. Not always, but I think part of the representative, it goes both ways. So not only are you bringing public opinion to city council, you're also taking information back to make sure that they are educated, and that's what you want from your responsible citizenship in general. And so I'd be excited for that. And being on the financial oversight board right now, I already feel like I have more information than the average citizen, which I'm happy to share immediately. And I love that kind of give and take as an elected official. Well, I mean, the board's not elected, but that's the same kind of thing I would bring to city council into Ward 6.
Great. Trust is an essential part of governing. Without trust, it's hard to get anything done. So how would you build trust in the community?
Always tell the truth. I'm not big on the two-faced side of politics where you'll say what they want to hear at that time or to get the deal made and then do something else later. If elected, I would take trust and integrity very seriously. I built my whole career around that. So it's kind of a foundation of me as a person, not just as an elected official. So if elected, I would come in and do the right thing, as popular or unpopular as that may be. I would stick to my word, and I would never jeopardize that, because that's all I've got, and I'm only 32, so I've got a long time where I need to depend on that reputation. Will that always be popular? Would I get reelected? I don't know, but I'll do it with integrity, and I'll know at the end of the day that I made the right choices for me and for my community and never think twice about that.
And as part of that trust, we hear the word transparency a lot. And to me, transparency involves the Open Meeting Act and the Open Records Act. What do you see the role of those acts as far as being a tool for the public?
I've actually signed the Freedom of Information Pledge and sent that in today, which they did a kind of press release on. I was kind of surprised, but appreciated it. I think the Open Records Act is crucial, but one of my priorities is to increase civic engagement with young families and young people, because you can announce it all day long, but if you're not directly reaching who needs to hear about it, they're not going to come, and then they're still going to complain they didn't know about it, which I've seen that happen on PTA meetings and things like that as well. And so it goes back to that active leadership. So yes, we have to be transparent. Yes, we have to announce our meetings and agendas, but it's got to be more than that. If we really want to engage the citizenship and get the feedback and educate citizens, we have to be pushing harder. My monthly meetings would be a way to do that. I'm very active on social media. If the residents of Ward 6 wanted, I'd be happy to do a newsletter. I do one now, so I've got experience with that. I have a website, so it's got to be the active leadership. And it's got to be, like I said, the two-way giving information and representing opinions.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.